You have a name. Say it in your head right now. Now imagine losing it. Not forgetting it, losing it, because it never existed in the first place. For most of human history, that wasn't imagination. That was every single person who ever lived. You're about to find out how strange that world really was. Right now, if you met someone new, you'd ask their name in the first 10 seconds. It feels automatic, almost like breathing. But that instinct? It's newer than agriculture, newer than the wheel. For most of the time humans have existed, asking someone's name would have made zero sense. So what did they say instead? What did they call each other? Nothing, really. Not the way you mean. For tens of thousands of years, humans lived in tiny bands. 20 people, 50 maybe. Everyone knew everyone's face, everyone's walk, everyone's laugh. There was no stranger to explain yourself to, so there was nothing to label. You weren't Adam. You weren't Maria. You were someone's daughter, the one who limps. The one who laughs loudest by the fire. Here's the part that should stop you. The anthropologist Claude Lévi-Strauss spent decades studying societies like this, and he found something almost nobody expects. In the oldest human social structures, the word uncle carried more information than any name ever could. It told you how to act, what you owed, what was owed to you. A name can't do that. A relationship can. You think your name is the core of who you are. For most of human history, it was the opposite. What mattered wasn't who you were, it was who you were to everyone standing around you. But it gets darker than that. In some cultures, saying a name out loud wasn't just pointless, it was dangerous. The anthropologist Napoleon Chagnon lived among the Yanomami people of the Amazon, and what he documented unsettled people back home. Saying a living adult's name to their face was deeply disrespectful. Saying a dead person's name? Almost unthinkable. Names held power. Loose lips could summon grief, or worse. Sit with that for a second. You post your name everywhere. It's on your coffee cup, your ID badge. Strangers shout it across parking lots, and you don't even flinch. It has no weight left. But once, a name was something you protected like a weapon. So what changed? Why did we go from that to this? It's not really about names, it's about a number. One specific number. The evolutionary psychologist Robin Dunbar spent his career studying human social groups, and he landed on something that still runs your life today, whether you know it or not. Your brain, he argued, evolved to comfortably track around 150 relationships. Below that number? You don't need names, you need faces. Shared history. Above it, the whole system breaks. You forget who owes you a favor. You forget who your own cousin is. That's the moment a label becomes necessary. Not to define a person, just to file them. That's what a name actually is. A filing system for a species that outgrew its own memory. And for most of history, groups stayed under that number. Then, about 10,000 years ago, everything flipped. Agriculture hit. People stopped moving. Villages swelled into towns. Strangers started showing up. People who never once sat by your fire. The tall ones stopped working. There were 50 tall ones now. Names became technology, a tool for remembering people you didn't grow up next to. Here's the twist that gets skipped in every history class. Even after personal names spread everywhere, something strange survived. Many cultures kept two layers of identity alive at once. One name for the group, for daily life, and a second name, spoken rarely, sometimes never outside a sacred moment. Among some indigenous Australian communities, people historically carried a public name for everyday use, and a separate sacred name tied to ceremony. One outsiders were never meant to hear. You still do this. Right now. Today. Think about it. There's the name on your ID, the one strangers use without thinking. And there's the other one, a childhood nickname, a private name only one or two people on Earth are allowed to use. You already know, somewhere in your gut, that not every name belongs in every mouth. So what's actually going on underneath all of this? It was never about identity disappearing. Identity is ancient. What changed is that identity had to start traveling. When your whole world was 150 faces, who you were lived inside relationships, inside people who already knew your story. But once your world outgrew your memory, identity had to become portable. It had to survive contact with someone who'd never seen your face before. A name is what identity looks like the moment it has to work on a stranger. That's why census forms exist, why passports exist. Somewhere in a database right now, there's a version of you flattened into a string of letters, stripped of everything that used to make a name mean something. Your laugh, your limp, your seat by the fire. Maybe that's exactly why something in you still resists it. Maybe that's why it feels different when someone doesn't just know your name, but actually knows you. For almost all of human history, that was the only kind of knowing that existed at all. A name was just a shortcut, invented for people who hadn't earned the real thing yet. Tonight, someone's going to ask your name. You'll answer without thinking. Less than a second, gone. But underneath that second sits 100,000 years of humans slowly figuring out how to be known by strangers who were once simply faces around the same fire.